It's aimed at providing a very specialised low ground pressure answer to some problems encountered by agricultural contractors.
When we're in the contact business, the winter season was so variable with wet weather and broken weather that it meant we were stopping for long periods, and then you got a build up of work. And it meant with the conventional machine you were damaging the farmers' pastures. And this type of machine, the low ground pressure tires, are reckoned that you can work longer and do less damage to the grassland. They are available on the commercial market, but the cost of them is prohibitive. So we have our own workshop facilities for doing repairs, and we decided to build one ourselves. We used a muir tractor, which seemed to be the ideal basic unit to start off from.
And is there much work to transform an ordinary muir into this finished product?
There was much less work than what I thought it would be. It worked out fairly, the engineering part of it was fairly straightforward. The differences are the wheelbase is extended and the cab has been removed forward over the front wheels to leave room at the back for the implements, slurry tank, and fertilizer spinner and so on. The gear linkage, throttle and so on had to be all shifted up, but it wasn't a difficult operation.
If a farmer put dual wheels onto a standard muir, would the ground pressure not then be similar to this here?
It probably wouldn't be far away, but the super single wheels with the large rotation, you don't get the same carryover of soil onto roads and that sort of a thing.
How much would each of those tyres cost?
Each tyre is roughly about £2,000 each, including the rim.
Why are you so much in favour of low ground pressure systems?
Independent tests carried out by agricultural universities in different countries have established that low ground pressure tyres used on winter wheat have resulted in a 20 to 30% higher yield of wheat.
Would there be a big demand from winter cereal growers?
There has been quite a demand. We have done some basic trials with it and quite a bit of contract work with it, and the farmers seem quite pleased with it.
What about top dressing?
That's basically what we're using it for, was fertilizer application.
At the end of March this year, the wheat was starving basically, and there'd been so much rain that the ground itself was very, very soft. 2 years ago I had the same conditions and I tried to spread the fertilizer myself, and I ended up with massive tracks through the field, which then caused massive problems right throughout the rest of the year. So this time I decided that I would get a low ground pressure vehicle to save tracking the ground and to feed the wheat when it needed it.
Did it overcome the problem?
It did overcome the problem very, very well. I was very satisfied with it. Spreading the fertilizer myself with an ordinary tractor and spreader did leave massive tracks. When the ground did dry up and spraying operations were necessary right throughout the summer for disease control and weed control, I had problems with sprayer booms breaking, going over the ruts left in the head rigs. I then had problems combining. The combine had to be kept up high to avoid the piles of soil that were thrown up at the sides of the ruts. I then had problems baling the straw that was left close to the ruts. I then had the problem of eliminating the ruts before the field could be ploughed again. So all in all, it led to a lot of expansion before the field could be ploughed again. So all in all, it led to a lot of expense, a lot of trouble, and for the small expense of getting a low ground pressure vehicle to spread the fertilizer in the first place, it just wasn't worth it.
What sort of cost was involved per acre?
Costing £2.50 an acre, which is actually very reasonable when you consider the costs involved in the rest of the season with ruts.
Could you put a cost on these ruts in your fields?
Well, it would be very difficult to put a financial cost on it, but the cost and mental anguish was considerable.
We use it for spreading artificial fertilizer, slurry spreading, and we envisage that it will be suitable for grain sowing and other arable uses. The machine has been designed with a main frame chassis system, which means that the different implements and equipment can be detached by the removal of 4 bolts and different hydraulic connections.
Is there a drawbar in the machine for towing?
We hadn't envisaged towing any other implements because the main purpose of the machine was to make it self-propelled, which cuts down the damage you do when you're drawing a non-driven machine.
Just how little damage does this machine do to ground?
It will travel satisfactorily over the field or the grassland where